Merry Chrimbus, everyone. It's Brandon. I'm recording on Christmas Eve. I actually did have an episode recorded yesterday, but something about it, I went back and listened, and something about it just didn't scream the Christmas spirit. And you know what it was? I think it was that I didn't record it on Christmas Eve. And that was the big glaring flaw there. So, it's our Chrimbus Special. And I've gotten so used to saying Chrimbus that it's really bizarre for me to say Christmas. And I think I got Chrimbus from a Tim and Eric skit or something like that. Or maybe I said Christmas wrong in my head at one point. And then my brain was like, Chrimbus. So pretty much now I have to catch myself when I'm in public in the real world saying Chrimbus instead of Christmas. I have to make sure I actually say the right thing. So, yes, it's Chrimbus Eve. And, man, I feel just the season. I see people fighting in the streets over gifts and fighting in the streets over getting presents and getting that deal. I love it. I am literally even drinking peppermint coffee right now. One of those fancy, fancy things. So I hope everyone has something to do on Chrimbus, whether it's actually go somewhere or be able to talk to your family or just relax. Just lay back and just take a break. If you have a big boy job, usually you get Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off, much like myself. But if you're working retail, hey, thank you for sticking out and doing that crap. And can I say this year for Chrimbus, I'm very excited that the movie theaters aren't open. As someone who used to work at the movie theater for 5+ years, I always had to work Christmas Day. And it is just an absolute joy to know that they will not be open, and none of my fellow movie theater workers will have to suffer through that. Because going to the movie theater on Christmas was apparently a huge thing, and I never understood that. Never did. I think, absolutely nothing should be open on Christmas. Maybe the only thing I'll let slide is, a gas station. Only because if you're traveling, you have to get gas. But I think people should be responsible enough to be like, okay, so tomorrow everything's closed down. What should I get? Oh, maybe I should fill up on a tank of gas. People should be smart enough. But I'm asking too much of people. And now we've already started to complain into the Chrimbus Special. And probably some of you are going to get real annoyed with just say Christmas. But no, Chrimbus. Chrimbus is my thing. Let me have it. I recently got some Nintendo Switch titles really cheap off Amazon. They were both on sale. I don't know if they still are. Vampire, spelled with a Y and no E. Which was actually both games are done by Focus Home Interactive. And they were both ported by Saber Interactive, which did the Witcher port for the Switch, which I think is great. Vampire, so I got that one, and then Call of Cthulhu, which were both titles I was interested in, but they're both one was $20, one was $15, and I had a gift card for $10, so come on, And I've been playing Vampire, and it's a very, very enjoyable time. It's very seated in the world and does things different. So I have to get used to that. I put about 2-3 hours into it, so I can't even review it. But if you're looking for an RPG that kind of harkens to the structure of The Witcher 3, yes, sound the alarms. I have talked about The Witcher again in the podcast. Pretty much this podcast is going to turn into I talk about Animal Crossing or Witcher. A lot of the DNA transfers from that to Vampire, and then there's just a lot of kind of other stuff that goes with it and just kind of liberties, but you can see that DNA from that game. So if you're looking for a game like that that's based off vampires, give that a try. Call of Cthulhu, I haven't tried yet, so I can't say anything, but I love the Cthulhu mythos. One of my favorite board games to play is Arkham Horror. It's a wonderful time. I recommend it to anyone who really likes deep, interactive, cooperative RPGs. Like a tabletop game. That is what I recommend. But depending on what you do, you can be sitting there for 3, 4, 5 hours. Depending how in-depth you get. So, wanted to throw that out there. That's not going to be an easy little jaunt. But yeah, those were some games I picked up. They were real cheap. And I already got my friends their gifts for Chrimbus. So like now I can spend a little bit of dollary dues on me, because from my family, all I asked was, any money you would spend on me, please just give it to me in a form that I can put towards my student loans. And this is the thing. All right, so let's talk about Christmas present. At this point in my life, I'm very much a guy who, whenever I see something that I really want, I can just purchase it. And that isn't me trying to toot my own horn and be like, I have a lot of money. No, I don't. I'm broke most of the time. But, after buying all my groceries, buying all my food, buying all the things I need, paying my bills, that little extra money, if there's something I want, I just go get it. So Christmas has really lost that allure to me. And that even goes for, like, if I need a new pairs of boxers, if I need socks, if I need, I just go get those big packs, or I'm one of those weirdos who do all my clothes shopping at Goodwill or Salval. Just because I'm not going to pay a ridiculous amount of money for shirt. Unless the shirt is like a novelty tee with something like funny on it or something like that. Or to support a creator sort of. Because I don't even do that either. But NitroRad, he's a YouTuber. If you're interested in watching these really in-depth game reviews, I'd recommend him. He had a shirt that came out and I really liked it. So I got it. I like the style of it. I like the cartoon style. But also, there's only one other person that I supported, and his shirt is literally it is this list of the common characteristics of existential dread. It's just a checklist. Like, all right, I'm willing to pay a little bit for that, but like if it is, I'm paying $30 for a long sleeve shirt that across the chest says American Eagle. Like, I'm not paying that much. Like, I hate America and I hate Eagles. Putting those two together, those are two things I hate. I also hate long sleeve shirts. So those are three things I hate. I think the country's bird should have been a turkey. Ben Franklin had it right. Turkeys are delicious. You slice it up, slap it on a sandwich, gold. But Christmas has really lost its charm, its allure, especially the older you get. So I think if you're a parent, or have a significant other, which I am neither of, or have, I guess we would say that, you find that joy in giving a gift for someone else. And whenever I get a gift for someone, I want to make it practical. Number one, practical, but number two, I want it to be something that they can either use or it's very sentimental or... All right, here's an example. So I know my friend's wife is a woman. Okay, we have established that. She's a big fan of Harry Potter. So what I did was I looked up makeup brushes, something she could use, but they're all in the shape of like all the different main Harry Potter ones, even the one that looks like anal beads. And if you're a Harry Potter fan, you're like, oh, that one, yeah. But I won't go into that anymore. But I got her that because it was something that I knew she liked, and also it was something that would be useful to her. And I always appreciate that. Gift I got from a friend was some Micron kind of fine line color set. It's one of those very artsy pens that are kind of like a Sharpie, but they're colored. And it was just nice because I've even used them. It was a gift that I could use. And that's my stance on gifts. Like, I want something I can use. I don't want something that I can just sit on a shelf, because I can do that myself. I can go purchase some stupid thing and be like, I'm going to set this on my shelf. Here we go. Like, that's what all my figures are sitting up here. I'm looking at all these figures I have. So let me just give you a rundown of what I got from what I can see. So I have Tetsuo figure from Akira. I have the group of Spartans from Halo Reach, little statue set that you could get in the collector's edition of Halo Reach. I think it's Noble 1. I have most of all of the Borderlands 2 action figures with like a big Mad Moxie statue, Claptrap, all the characters. I have a lot of the pops for Borderlands up there. Let's scroll over here. Scroll. Wow. I'm turning my chair. My brain's like, oh, so scroll. Amiibos covering the top of my entertainment system. I have a statue of Johnny Silverhand. I have a statue of, gosh, what was his name? Cooper. Is it Jack Cooper from Titanfall 2? And then all the Pop Titanfall figures, but also I have some just regular BT Titanfall figures. I have all the Cuphead Pops, all the ones they've ever released. A few Pops here and there from other things. Yeah. Holy cow, there's a lot up there. Yeah. And then I have posters all over the place. I have some Borderlands 3 posters. I have some gaming posters that my local kind of used game store sells. I have Blade Runner poster, Mario Kart. Man, I got a lot of crap now that I think about it. And I think I got on this subject because I was thinking, oh man, whenever I bring a lady to my lair, have her come down the steps, she's gonna be like, what is all this crap? And I even have a katana and the master sword from Legend of Zelda sitting in the, like real, like life-size replicas. And the katana's actually pretty sharp. I wouldn't mess with that one. Yeah, and then my computer setup, all my stickers. Bonkers. It's just bonkers with all the crap we have sitting here. Yeah, that'll be an explanation for one day. But also, I would hope that whoever I'd be romantically interested in would be interested in the same things I am, because oh my gosh, this discussion would be a whole lot easier. Instead of like, why do you have a statue of a woman with her face painted white and her tits hanging out? Like, that's a discussion that, man, that'd take forever. Yeah, Chrimbus. Also, every year, everyone has their own tradition and their own routine for Christmas, right? You go to someone's house, you have family members come over to your house, whatever it may be. And I always go over to my grandma's house. Let me tell you, like, every time I go over there, she's always like, dear little old Brandon, I see it's another year you are single. There is no woman in your life, no woman to carry on the family name. And I wish I was over-exaggerating, but the discussions get like that. And I'm like, Grandma, no. Because then I talk to my grandma about, I have these standards that I look for in a potential mate, and I have just not found that yet. Also, during the quarantine, it's been pretty difficult. But also, having those standards makes it difficult because a lot of people don't have standards and they just go around pounding everything they can. But I'm just not that type of person. That just isn't me. So Christmas is always a strange time, especially at grandma's. But, now I'm looking at this case of Call of Cthulhu. I'm like, man, I kind of want to play Call of Cthulhu now. Drop everything. But I got too many dang games to play. Dang diddly games. Because what I started doing was I got back into The Witcher, like I told you. I was just playing some Witcher 1 this morning, doing some quests. And then I heard you can transfer your file from 1 to 2. So I was like, oh, what's that do? It does nothing. So then I started playing the game not carefully, just kind of running through and just really enjoying my time instead of trying to make choices for like choices I want later. But in The Witcher 3, I've been going back and doing all the Gwent quests because I've been sucked into the world of Gwent. I have the game on my computer, like the actual standalone game, which I'm just into. And then the actual game in-game of Gwent, which both are different and serve a different role, but I love them both. Oh my gosh. It's good. Good stuff. Good stuff happening. Also, during this Chrimbus break, I am going to be furiously writing Briar, and I did a lot of, I think I got 2 chapters penned out yesterday. And how I figured it is I have a sheet here with the skeleton story, and a portion of the story is kind of put together as I go, but I want certain stories told, certain flashbacks that happen, and certain events that happen in certain chapters. And it's very exciting that I've been just so on board with this. And it's funny how inspiration comes at times you don't expect it, but when that inspiration hits, you better hop on board and get with it. Because if you don't, I mean, it's gonna it's going to pass, and then you're just going to be back in the depressed stupor that you were. Or not even depressed, I guess creative slump. Whenever I'm like that, it's usually I'm in depressed stupor, but for a lot of people, it could just be they're in a creative slump. That isn't a bad thing because we all do stuff and we all have different processes. And hopefully, if I get this done, then I'm going to be scouting out an editor and give them the whole story and then give them, all right, this is the points I wanted to have. And then from a story standpoint, does this work? Is this effective? You know what I mean? And then just have a bunch of different eyes read it. But it's exciting to get something done and be so excited and passionate about it. And it's one of those things where I actually sit down and there's nothing else playing. There's no video in the background. I just do it and I lose hours to it. So, I don't know. Maybe that's what I was supposed to do with my whole life. So whatever that happens, I'll keep you guys in the loop on it. Then I wanted to also bring up my progress on audiobooks. I don't know. Anyone listen to audiobooks? Is that just me? I get excited when I have to drive anywhere because I get to listen to an audiobook. So instead of, oh, I have to drive to go shopping for something. Oh, I have to go to work. I'm sitting there and I'm like excited because I get to listen to the next chapter. And of course, it's the Witcher books. Big surprise. But I've just really been enjoying that because my trips, they do seem a little longer, but I'm so hyper focused on listening to the story and soaking up everything. And also, going through the Witcher books now, I'm almost done with the first one, actually, The Last Wish. So, the next Netflix TV show, The Witcher, I liked it. It was good. It was a good time. I'm glad The Witcher's getting that notoriety that it deserves. But the whole first season is The Last Wish. It is all these different scenarios and situations that are very different, but they do tie together in some way. And I kind of noticed that in the TV show, they kind of just went down the route of doing whatever the heck they wanted. Now, they followed the story and all the characters are there, but the ambitions and motivators are very different in the book than it was for the TV show. Now, if you watch the TV show, I'm about to drop some spoilers. If you don't, it doesn't really spoil anything. It just spoils one episode. So, there was that point in the TV show where Geralt was summoned to a banquet, a ball, by a queen, and the queen was expecting that some creature was going to show up and ask for the daughter's hand in marriage because of the law of surprise. Law of surprise is give me the first thing that you find when you get home that you were not expecting. You know, it's a surprise. And for the most part, it actually usually is a child. Maybe it is a person. Maybe it is... It's a surprise. You know, you never know what the thing is. But in that universe, their idea of destiny is so woven in that if that... Like, everyone understands that if you know, either request the law of surprise to be given to you or request... You know, that, all right, what do you want? I want the law of surprise. That in that universe, the destiny, the things that bind reality, understand that as a spoken law and you have to follow through with it, or that family is just like, gets all this bad karma. So in the TV show, yes, the creature comes. Yes, it finds out he was collecting on his law of surprise, which was the queen's daughter. And the queen didn't like that, but the queen was all with this creature, and at the very end, Geralt didn't want anything, but they kept saying, what do you want? I have to give you something. And in the show, he sarcastically said, all right, just a law of surprise. And the queen was upset because, like, you just doomed this family. And, you know, everyone was kind of upset about it because, you know, that was a destiny thing. So, in the books, after reading it, all the same events pretty much happened, but he does the law of surprise, but he does it with the intent that he said, Witchers are born of destiny. You don't have a Witcher unless you know, call the law of surprise pretty much. And Witchers are pretty much not completely dying out, but there's not as many as there used to be, and they're kind of working themselves out of a job because either the humans in the world of Temeria, or the region of Temeria, have gotten used to the monsters and either kind of domesticated them or just kind of hunted them themselves, or they kind of keep them as a like endangered species, kind of that thing. So he requests it in the hopes of making her a witcher, which makes a lot more sense. In the TV show, that was the opposite. He sarcastically said it, like jokingly, and was hoping they'd leave him alone. And also in the TV show, they make Geralt to be out a much bigger dick than he actually is. Like, he still is a dick in some instances, but in the books, he's not kind-hearted, but he just has a code that he follows. So it's interesting. And this is that statement everyone says, like, the books are always better than whatever. And in context to the games actually kind of take place after the book series, because some stuff happens in the book series, like, to close it all off, that the writer kind of left it open-ended. I can't pronounce his name, so I won't say it. But then the games pick up after all of that and have their own narrative, but set in the same world and pulling from stories and pulling characters from that. I mean, oh man, CD Projekt Red did a great job. Oh, we brought CD Projekt Red. Let's bring him Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk, I'm very close to the end of it. And let me tell you that game made, what, $13 million? $13 million, somewhere around there. That is what it made. And $8 million of that was pre-orders. Now, that brings up the discussion of people like, oh man, pre-orders. You know, we pre-ordered a game and then we get screwed over, blah, blah, blah. Now, I've been following this, and last time I talked about the kind of lawsuit that was going on where the investors were bringing up a lawsuit because they never showed off the Xbox One or the PS4 screenshots and how the game ran. So the investors look bad, so they're looking like, I'm gonna sue you because you didn't show me that. My statement still holds true where I'm like, you know, I am confident they're gonna fix this and bring it up and there'll be no problem. I am confident in that. And if I am wrong, I will get on the podcast and say I was a big dum-dum poo-poo head. That's the thing I'll say. I'll just get up and be like, I'm a big dumb poo-poo head. Oh, peppermint coffee's weird because it has that coffee taste, but then that little bit of peppermint on the end. Very, very festive. Indeed. But, alright, we're jumping off all that CD Projekt Red stuff and Witcher stuff because I know people are like, stop talking about The Witcher. So let's talk about Animal Crossing. Hey, I like that segue there. Wintertime is here, Toy Day is here, and Animal Crossing is just the game that I always just come back to because I want to see how my town's doing, but also you can build some snowmen, you can get some stuff, and I think the big driving force for people to keep playing Animal Crossing is that there's new seasons always bring new things. Now, give it a year or two in the life cycle, and then people are going to be like, okay, this is all the same stuff. But just the amount of customization and amount of creative freedom you have in your world is just great. It's just something that I latch onto so much. Because I always wanted a game where it was kind of a farming sim, but you were able to build your own town and kind of place where people live. And there are games out there like that kind of touch on that or even really dig into that, but also there were things I didn't like about it. So no game's perfect, but this kind of scratches that itch. And I'm getting so close to paying off my house completely. Actually, yesterday I paid off the, I think, second to last or last loan. No, the second to last loan. And then there's the last loan that I just got because I have the upstairs, 3 rooms, main room that was expanded in the basement. And then after that, you pay off that loan and then you're done. So you're like, I'm done. What do you mean? Like, you can't upgrade your house anymore, but you can actually go ahead and you can move the houses in town without having to pay for it. And I'm so excited for that because I have this setup in my town that I like, but I would like to change it up a little bit more. And I think that's the time I'd be waiting for. But yeah, the winter update, it's enjoyable. It's fun. I don't really have much else to say because I think I've talked about Animal Crossing to death in my earlier episodes. And we don't need to go into that. So does anyone have any Christmas game? Right? Because a lot of Christmas games that you look up online to play are all based off of Flash games or Elf Bowling. Elf Bowling is still hilarious and I love it, and there's nothing better than it. Especially like when the elves like lose their little like speedos and they're sitting there, it's all pixelated and you're elf bowling on the thing. I love it, Elf Bowling. Mwah. I remember it was always around Christmas. It would show up on my computer when I was younger, and I never knew why. Well, I knew why because my dad would install it only around Christmas and then take it off. I don't know, just because he liked to have it festive but not all year round. And then, yeah, I would play that for hours. I'd just sit there and elf bowl for hours. That and Knights of the Old Republic. Knights of the Old Republic was the one game that I could put onto my computer, and it just blows my mind how I got so into that. That was a game that I just really dug my teeth into and just got into. Man, Knights of the Republic 1 and 2 were great. Then there was like the MMO, which I don't know how big that was. I didn't really pay much attention to it. And here's the thing, at this point in my life, if I'm getting into an MMO like that, like a legit MMO, not a game with MMO elements like Destiny 2 or Warframe, I want to get into one that I'm excited about. And the one that I'm excited about is called Corepunk. Now, it is a top-down, moves like a MOBA, where there's the fog of war, where you explore the whole map and everything. But it's set in this kind of fantasy steampunk world where it's more leaning on the fantasy stuff. So you're not having like these big cities, everything run by steam. It's like, yeah, there's different races and stuff, but all of them kind of live in this kind of like fantasy world. Like the starting town is this small swamp town, but you go into the bar and the sex robot broke down, so all the people are mad. So you have to go do a quest to get the sex robot fixed. And then I think about that, like how many people have their turn on that? Like, do they clean it out? Do they do anything like that? Ugh, I don't want to think about it. But that's like the MMO I want to get into, because whenever you get into a game like that, you want to find a game that is yours. And maybe that game is something that is like World of Warcraft or the Final Fantasy Online. But then there's me who's like, if I get into an MMO, I want to pick that MMO. I want to have something different and something that appeals to me. And then Corepunk shows up. Now, Corepunk's not out yet. I did sign up for the beta whenever it happens. It was supposed to be happening in Chrimbus time. So let's take a moment and scroll over to my email to see if, hey, Corepunk, you sent me any stuff yet? I doubt it. Let's see here. Man, my email's old. It's telling me I have an order from last week. Yeah, nothing from it. Nothing. I gotta go to promotions, see if there's anything there. I ordered a t-shirt from there. Now this is the exciting part of the podcast where you just listen to me scroll through my... Yeah, no. Wait a minute. I got discount codes for Heretic and Hexen collection? Sorry, I got completely off track there. Yeah, but nothing for Corepunk. And it's something I want to play. I don't know, just something about it looks just really interesting to me. And I always play those games that are just different. Which leads me into my final topic of the Chrimbus episode, is talking about reviews. Do you listen to reviews? Do you follow reviews? Do you just get games because they look interesting to you? Now, I think we could start off by saying the main review sources that a lot of people use, top 3 from what I gather, is GameSpot, IGN, and Game Informer. Those are the 3 that you go to reviews for. Now, the way they do reviews is very different than other reviewers. If you just go on YouTube and you type up a review of a game, you will probably get just a one-person content creator who does reviews. Now, do you follow those reviews based off of that? Maybe you do. The reason you probably do that is because you have a connection to that person or you share similar interests. So that's when you're like, okay, that's a cool review. I'm all about that. You know, they like games that I like. They share the same things they want in a game that I like. So I'm going to follow with them and just see kind of what they're doing. Okay, they like this game. I'm going to purchase that. Are you the type of person that listens to IGN, GameSpot, or Game Informer? And the only reason I round back to that is because the way they do things is usually they will have a person do the review. Then they will pass that off to a writer who will kind of put their thoughts together. And then there will be a person who does like the video review and reviews it. So during that process, we all have our own bias. We all have our own opinions. So during that review, from the first person who played it to the last person who's doing the audio thing, do you think that their ideas and their thoughts have been skewed a little bit and kind of morphed and transformed? This isn't a bad thing. I'm just saying, are you getting the most direct and most realistic review you can get? Now, a lot of games that I really liked, IGN has given crap scores to. Like, terrible. So whenever people look at a review and it's anything that is under a 7, they're like, unplayable, it's trash. Because their review is like 10's the best going all the way down to 1. And 7 is like a completely functioning game. It's just, there were just some things that they didn't like. Now, you can watch a review for IGN for... Alright, let me bring up the example, Greedfall. It's a video game that I've been looking into because it fits that niche of kind of that interactive storytelling RPG that you can get from Mass Effect, Dragon Age, The Witcher. And it's kind of independent, but it's by a studio that I know do a lot of RPGs, and they take a lot of time to do world building, and they, you know, they're like the AA studio. You know, because at the end of the day, you look and you're like, oh, only 20 people worked on this. So IGN gave it a less favorable review just because of some mechanics and bugs. But then I looked for a review, and it seemed like, based off of what this person said, where they really liked this type of game and they really found a lot of enjoyment even despite all the issues that IGN pointed out. They're like, despite that, it's like, okay, that's just little stuff you got to get over, but the bigger picture is I really liked it. So, you know, what review do you listen to? I'm the type of person where there's one or two things. I either only get reviews from sources and people that I trust, or I don't get reviews at all, don't listen to them, and I just go pick up the game and experience it for myself. And sometimes, yeah, it's a crap bag, and it's a, you know, it's Anthem is my example for that. I bought that and I didn't care about the reviews. Now, Anthem's gameplay, even though everyone knocked it and just berated it and tore it apart because of its gameplay, I actually found it really enjoyable. That was my favorite thing about it. The story had a hint of greatness, especially with the Owen little bit. And I don't even know if you've played Anthem, but I have. And it just didn't stack up. But then all the controversy of the game's not finished. And I feel like instead of them being able to work on what's next, they were just focused on dealing with all the crap of the PR stuff and everyone flipping out. But also, we haven't heard anything from the devs in ages, so I doubt they're going to do anything with it. But the idea of it flying around in like Iron Man suits in this world, in this kind of fantasy setting, that's cool. I think that's awesome. I don't really regret it, because if I went right off reviews, everyone said it'd be unplayable and poop. Yeah, I had a lot of issues, but I was still able to get enjoyment out of it. And why do we play games? For enjoyment. So I kind of want you to ponder on that. Just reviews. What do we, do you listen to them? Do you not? Also, don't be afraid to think for yourself. Don't be afraid to enjoy something that no one else likes. And don't go with the trends of that either. You're your own person. You're your own wonderful individual. And especially around this time of year, we're probably going to have a lot of time just hanging out indoors just because we can't travel or see our families. I almost said fairies. I don't know who's seeing fairies. I'm not seeing fairies. Go see our families for Chrimbus. So with that being said, let's close off this episode. It's a bit shorter, but I want you guys to go enjoy your Chrimbus. I'm going to go enjoy my Chrimbus. I'm going to throw this episode together in probably an hour or two. Because I have to go be a terrible child and go shop for my mother for Chrimbus because I've not done that yet. But work has just been... That is how I, in adult speak, say my job's poo-poo. So, take care, everybody. Merry Chrimbus. I love you all. See you next time.